What's up, golfers? Coach Josh here. Today I'm going to talk to you about the hip hinge. So this hinging is an essential pattern, what we call a foundational movement pattern. Really, all it is the ability of the hips to go straight back and hinge into what we call flexion. So the hip is a ball and socket joint, so it should be able to move in multiple planes of motion. We need to be able to coordinate that flexion or hinging pattern of the hips without using the lower back. So how that's important for the golfer is in a few ways, all right? Number one, if you cannot hinge properly from the hips and you end up hinging from the back, it's going to prevent you from getting into a good address position, and you're likely going to overbend at the knees and bend here, which is going to limit rotation and is probably going to encourage more early extension. Number two, if you can't stay hinged at the hips, you're going to have a hard time driving into that lead side and hinging it back and getting onto your lead side and pushing those vertical forces down through the ground, which is going to limit your ability to create club head speed. So the hinging pattern is super critical for golfers, and it's an area where most of them just maybe not have the awareness of what their body's doing because they're moving from the back because they're so used to doing it. Quick test you can do for yourself is the straight-legged toe touch. Can you keep your knees absolutely locked out without letting them unlock or bend and easily touch your toes, okay? If you can't do that, chances are your hips just don't hinge back and you start to move from your spine to get down. We want to go back instead of down, okay? So, again, that's a quick way to test it. So if we want to improve our hip hinge, we have to do three main things for any pattern, but for specifically for the hips, we need to restore. So we need to restore the soft tissue a little bit and make sure that the pattern is there, get some mobility. We need to reset the actual hinge pattern, and then we need to reinforce the pattern by strengthening it. Okay, so restore, reset, and reinforce. Okay, so I'm going to go through three simple things that you can do to improve your hip hinge. All right, and we're going to start with a variation on that toe touch, which is going to help restore, okay, some mobility there. All we're going to do is find a wall that you can put your back against and get your heels. Your heels are going to be about 1 foot length from the wall. And I'm going to have I've just got a dowel here, a PVC. You could use a book, something that's about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. And I put both heels on the floor. Toes are elevated, so this is going to give you a bit more of a stretch down in behind the knees as well. From here, bend the knees enough, just enough so that you can touch the toes and grasp the toes. Now, this is our toe touch wall slide. So I'm touching my toes. I'm going to slide my butt up the wall to straighten the knees. The reason why we step forward is we're presetting that hinge. So I've got to get to the wall by hinging my butt back behind my heels. Because we've got the wall, you don't have to worry about balance and falling backwards, so you can just work on breathing. Inhale and exhale as you straighten the knees. Even if they don't straighten all the way, just try and get some movement here. It might take you 12 to 15 reps to actually make progress, but make sure we breathe. Do not hold your breath while you're doing this. Inhale down. Exhale as the butt slides up the wall. Inhale down. Exhale up. So again, 10 to 15 reps is a guideline. It might take you a couple sets of that to make progress, okay? But if you do this every day, your toe touch will dramatically improve. I know so many people that say, I just can't touch my toes, my hamstrings are tight. They do this drill every day, and in a couple weeks, they can touch their toes. It's amazing how that works. Slide up the wall. All right, so once you've done your 12 to 15 reps, we've restored that motion a little bit, we're gonna reset it. Next exercise we're gonna do is a hip hinge with the dowel. So if you don't have a dowel or a PVC, you can use a driver, that's fine. We're gonna place it along the back. So now this pattern we're gonna use to reset the hinge pattern is key, okay? Be patient with yourself. This movement is subtle and it takes practice and practice and practice, okay? Because you may be used to moving like this, okay, and moving from your spine instead of moving like this, which is a hip hinge, okay? Do you see the difference? The difference is I put this on my back to give me feedback. If I can keep it on my spine and have 3 contact points, pay attention here. Touching the butt, just above the butt cheeks, touching between my shoulder blades, touching the back of my head. Now, if you have struggled with poor posture for years and maybe you're a little like this and you can't get your head back there, just make sure your butt and shoulders are against and get your head as close to the dowel as you can. If you can get your head back there, you'll find that your chin is tucked a little bit. That's okay, we want that. So it'll tell you, this dowel shows me I've got a neutral space here and under my lower back. So your spine has those curves. We've got a little neutral curve here and we've got a neutral curve here. You need to maintain those spaces, okay? That is key. So I've got the 3 contact points and the 2 spaces. That tells me I can maintain a neutral posture here. From here, all you're going to do is unlock the knees, make sure your feet are parallel, okay, about hip width apart. Unlock the knees and just push your butt back as far as you can. If your shoulder gets tired, you can switch hands or even have somebody hold it along your back while you're first doing this. And just push your butt back. Make sure you maintain contact with your head, between your shoulder blades and your butt. And just go back as far as you can without losing contact on any of those points. If you start to hinge from your spine, you will lose contact either at your head or it'll come off your butt. So only go as far as you can, keeping those 3 contact points. And you can see all I'm doing is here, my spine is not changing its posture, it's tilting because I'm hinging my hips back. So this is how we get into an address posture in golf. We set up to the ball, unlock the knees, hinge the hips back, and we're here, all right? So that's all it is. Learn to hinge from the hips, and you can have the other hand just glide along the front of your thigh. So we're not reaching out, we're reaching back with the hips, just like that. So again, this pattern might take you a couple sets of 10 to 15 reps to reset that pattern. But that hip hinge with a dowel is really, really a money move for you to be able to reset that hip hinge pattern. Now that we've reset the pattern, we're going to reinforce it. So we bring in a little bit of load to the pattern. So once you can do that, then we load it. If we go to load a really faulty pattern and you're bending like this to pick this weight up, okay, you're just putting bad information into the movement computer, your brain, okay? We need to not put bad information in, we want to put good information in where we're hinging from the hips. So reset first and then we're going to reinforce. So if you have a kettlebell, it's a great option, okay? Or a heavy object. This one's 50 pounds. You could start with something a little lighter, but I like this right between my feet, okay? And you'll notice I have the handle of the kettlebell is about even with my ankles, okay? I see a lot of people trying to do deadlifts from here, but that's going to teach you to kind of reach down with your arms. If I'm here and I keep my arms against my body and thighs, I need to reach back with the hips. Keep your arms gliding on the insides of your thighs till you find the handle of the kettlebell. And you can see it's forcing me to hinge back at the hips, and this is staying nice and neutral. So if I had this running down my back, it's the exact same. I maintain those 3 points of contact. You can even have someone spot you and put this dowel here and make sure you're able to do this pattern. Because if you're starting to get to this position and you round, okay, and you lose contact, you're going to put stress on the back that you do not need to do. And when we're deadlifting, if you're doing it right, you should feel it in the hamstrings. Maybe that you're working your core. We're not working a lot of the lower back muscles, okay? We should feel that we're stabilizing here. And then I just stand up. And now the key when I come back down is to not reach down with the hands. I keep my arms here and I'm just reaching back with the butt. The knees are unlocked. Reach back till the kettlebell touches. And then I push the feet through the floor to stand up. Okay, hinge back. Tap the kettlebell. Again, remember, push your feet down through the floor to stand up. There's no trying to lift with the upper body here. I just drive the feet down and pull the hips through. You should feel a little squeeze in your glutes. And back down. So you can reinforce this pattern by strengthening that hinge. And if you get to a point where you're starting to bend at your back from here, you can raise the kettlebell up. Put it on a couple of yoga blocks or some kind of stable platform so it's a little off the floor. So maybe you just have to lift it from here to here. That's fine, as long as we keep this neutral. If you don't have a kettlebell, you can use a pair of dumbbells. Okay, if you got light dumbbells, moderate weighted dumbbells, hold them like 2 suitcases, okay? And from here, the butt is gonna go back. So again, we're not reaching the dumbbells, should not come in front of your body. You can see my spine rounding there. Imagine that dowel alongside my back. Hinging the hips back. So the kettlebells are gonna come, dumbbells are gonna come just beside my knees, and then I drive through the ground to come up. Think about keeping your stomach braced strong as you hinge back, keeping it strong as you push the feet through the floor. Again, I'm feeling a stretch in the back of the thighs, pushing through the floor. This is what's called an RDL. So this is a Romanian deadlift. It's essentially a 3/4 deadlift, hinging from the hips. So we need to reinforce that hinging pattern gradually, and slowly work your way up in strength so you can increase weight, decrease reps, making sure that the pattern is really solid. That's the way to strengthen that hinge pattern. Okay, so remember, we need to restore, okay? Do your toe touch wall slide, reset, make sure the pattern is sound and we're not bending from the back, and then reinforce with our load and strength. That's going to give you a much more powerful hip hinge. It's going to limit that early extension, improve your ground forces, help you hit the ball better. Hope you guys found that really helpful. It would really help us out if you subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.